When you're standing in front of a shelf of powered speakers and a matching subwoofer, the first thing that pops into most people's heads is, will this actually fill my room with sound? Or am I just paying for a pretty box? That hesitation is real. You've probably seen glossy ads promising premium audio simplified, and you wonder if the promise lives up to the price tag or if you'll end up with a pair of speakers that sound great on paper but fall flat in the living room. I'm going to walk through exactly what you get with the ELAC DCB41 BK debut ConneX 4.5-inch powered speakers paired with the PS350 BK Varro 12-inch sub, and help you decide whether they're the right fit for your space, your listening habits, and your budget. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First, let's put the product into the context of a typical home audio setup. ELAC markets these as powered speakers, meaning each cabinet houses its own Class D amplifier. That eliminates the need for a separate receiver or external amp, which is a huge convenience if you're trying to keep the system tidy or if you're moving the speakers between rooms. The DCB41s sit at 4.5 inches, so they're compact enough to sit on a bookshelf or a modest TV stand without dominating the visual space. The PS350 subwoofer is a 12-inch unit delivering 350 watts, and it comes with an auto EQ feature that listens to your room and adjusts its crossover and phase settings automatically. Now, why does that matter in real life? Imagine you're a fan of streaming movies on a mid-size couch, or you like to crank up a playlist while you're cooking. You don't want to spend a weekend wrestling with speaker wire, a separate AV receiver, and a bunch of calibration software. With the debut ConneX speakers, you simply plug an HDMI ARC, an optical cable, or even a 3.5mm auxiliary into the back, hit power, and you're good to go. The sub's auto EQ saves you from the headache of manually tuning the bass to avoid a boomy, uneven low end that can make dialogue and films sound muddy. In practice, I've found the sub to settle into a smooth, room-filling bass that stays tight enough for action sequences without overwhelming the mids. Who should consider this bundle? If you have a medium-sized living room, say, 12 to 18 feet across, and you want to step up from the typical TV soundbar without diving into full-on audiophile territory, this is a solid candidate. The built-in amplifiers are calibrated to drive the small 4.5-inch drivers efficiently, so they produce a clear mid-range that works well for vocals, guitars, and most streaming music codecs. The sub's 350-watt rating isn't just marketing fluff, it actually delivers enough headroom for low-frequency effects in movies and enough punch for electronic music bass drops, all while staying controlled enough that you won't feel the floor shaking in an apartment building. On the flip side, if you're a serious audiophile with a dedicated listening room, high-end floor-standing speakers, and a separate amp you trust, you might skip this bundle. The DCB41's driver size inherently limits how much detail they can render in the extreme low end, and while the sub fills that gap, the integration isn't as seamless as a purpose-built two-way bookshelf system that's been matched to a specific subwoofer. Also, if your primary listening position is very close to the speakers, like a desktop setup where the speakers are only a few feet away, the bass can feel a bit forward. In those cases, a smaller sub or a different placement strategy would be more appropriate. Let's talk about the practical strengths that set this system apart from other all-in-one options on the market. The first is connectivity. ELAC includes a surprisingly versatile input panel, HDMI ARC for TV audio, optical for most soundbars and game consoles, a 3.5mm line-in for phones or laptops, and even a Bluetooth receiver for wireless streaming. That means you can swap between a Netflix binge, a gaming session, and a Spotify playlist without pulling any cables. The second strength is the automatic room correction on the sub. Many budget subwoofers require you to manually adjust the crossover frequency and phase, a process that can involve a lot of trial and error. The auto EQ runs a short test tone, measures the room's response, and sets the optimal parameters. In my testing, it reduced the common hole you sometimes hear around 80 Hz, delivering a smoother transition from the speakers to the sub. Now for the practical weaknesses you need to be aware of before you click Add to Cart. The first is the limited bass adjustment on the DCB41 itself. Because the speakers are powered, The low-frequency output is fixed, you can only control the overall volume and the sub's level. If you're trying to fine-tune the blend between the speakers and the sub for a particular genre, you'll find yourself adjusting the sub's level more often than you'd like. The second downside is the physical placement flexibility. The 4.5-inch cabinets have a rear-firing design that works best.